the players in that locker room have an immense amount of pride when it comes to the tradition of Notre Dame football, and I think you saw that today. Proud of the way they competed, and in particular, they exhibited the traits that allow them to win a football game against the team that we played today. And so, that's the most important thing. Immense amount of pride in the tradition of Notre Dame football, and that was on display today against the opponent. And I think it's pretty clear that the traits that we've been working on and developing showed themselves, in particular, in some key times in the second half when we needed to really bow up and come up with a stop and really change the flow of the game. And those are really critical pieces to a good football team. And so, when you look back and take a step back at a first game, you go, oh, you can make great progress from one week to the next. True. We'll break down the film and we'll clean up the mistakes. But when you can exhibit some of the perseverance and the grit that we showed that is needed to have a successful season, that's a good day for me. So with that, I'll open up to questions.
You've talked a lot about in the past about finishing. You had a series in the fourth quarter where you got stopped on fourth down, and then you came back, answered the fourth down stop, and then your offense came down and scored. Can you talk about what you maybe learned or saw from your team today in that sequence?
Well, we've talked since January. We've had some early morning conditioning that has addressed perseverance over a long period of time, where you're going to have some setbacks, but you keep pushing forward. And that was clearly the scenario that we saw today. We were going to keep pushing regardless if we got stopped. We're going to come right back at our opponent. And we did, and we had the success that we needed.
422 yards in the ground. Can you just kind of give an assessment of what you saw today from your run game outside? You had some big plays, but just overall, what's your assessment of your ground game?
Yeah, I think having a good run game, you have to have big plays. They crowded the line of scrimmage. When you drop your safeties down and decide that you're going to play 9 guys on the line of scrimmage, if you break through, those are the things that come with it. Now, if you play 2 safeties back and play second level, third level defense, you can probably get 5 yards, 6 yards, 7 yards. But when you play that kind of defense, you're going to get some big runs, and we were able to do that.
When you assess this team in the offseason, what was the main thing you saw that was holding it back from being the team that you wanted to be, and how have you addressed that since last season?
Well, there were a lot of things that had to change, but it started with me, and we made some changes within. But I think more than anything else, the traits, developing the traits of our football team that I've just been talking about, that grit, that attention to detail, that focus that you need. And look, this is one game. And I can tell you that they have been great at doing everything that I've asked them to do about sticking with this process. And they got some production from that process today. But it's a long season, and there's going to be some setbacks. We're not out for perfection. We're out for excellence, and we're going to have some setbacks, but if they stick with it, we'll have some success.
Yeah. Brian, with the offensive line having to go against 8, 9 guys in the box, what's your assessment of their play today?
Oh, I told McGlinchey and Quentin, thank God for the right side, because if you look at how everything was run, it was the right side. So they didn't like that, by the way, very much. It just happened that, even late in the game, we kept just where the ball was, we had to call on the right side of the offensive line. So I love the fact that we when we needed to run the ball, we could go behind Bars and Kramer and Hainsey and not have to just rely on Quentin Nelson and Mike McGlinchey. So, you know, when you step back, that's pretty good that you've got the confidence that you can go on either side of the ball.
And then could you assess your run defense overall, and do you feel like that heavy investment or rotating the defensive linemen in the first half paid off for you in the second half?
It's going to have to, Eric, more so than, you know, a tactical advantage. It's really a matter of, to keep these guys fresh and playing at the level that they need to, they're going to have to play. And so we had a fixed rotation of how they were going to play early and throughout. We trust them. We're going to stick with that. They believe in us and in the system that we've put together for them, and we're not going to waver from it.
And how do you feel like they did?
I mean, I couldn't tell you exactly. You know, look, there are times where I thought there was probably one series in the second quarter where we didn't tackle as well as we needed to. We made some, you know, some mistakes that we've got to clean up relative to attention to detail. We had the one offside penalty where we gave them a first down. Yeah, there's areas of improvement, but I love their mental state. I love where they are in terms of what they're going to do for us every week. We'll be excited to go coach them again.
Brian, here in the middle. How would you assess the way Brandon played today?
I thought that for a guy starting for the first time, he provided some excitement and energy to the offense. You know, he's got, I think everybody that watched him can see the tools that he has, the ability to run, throw the football. He's tough. He got hit today, got back up. Again, I think when you assess the quarterback position, at the end of the day, they're going to assess them on wins and losses. And today was a good day for the quarterback at Notre Dame because we are 1-0. Yeah, we've got, I mean, there'll be things that we've got to clean up there, certainly. The interception, he's got to key the quarter. The corner came off, lagged. But he's telling me on the way back, I got to keep my eyes on the corner. Ends the conversation pretty quickly with me. So I love that about him. Very coachable, and we'll get better, and he'll be better next week.
Brian, with Brandon, I know he's trying to make plays. Do you talk to him at all about thinking about sliding and protecting himself at the end of some of those runs?
I think he's pretty smart. He did slide one time, and he has slid in practice. He's a pretty good baseball player, so he knows how to slide. But I think he's a pretty smart guy. He's going to know when to get out of bounds, when to slide, when to protect himself. He got hit one time, and I think he'll be smart enough to know when to get down.
Brian, could you talk about how important it was for the team to get off to a fast start in the game and for the season, just for the confidence factor?
Well, you know, each year, you know, I felt like certain years confidence is really huge with a football team. That wasn't a word that I used much this year. I wasn't really worried about confidence in this group as much as they just needed to go play and exhibit the things that they had been exhibiting through the 26 practices. So I don't think I ever felt confidence. Last year I thought we needed confidence. You know, we needed some good things to happen. Even when we fumbled the ball and turned it over, I really didn't feel like we weren't going to respond in any way. It's just a different group, a different year, and a different team. So they just needed to go play a game and get some production, and they got a win, and now we can build off of that.
And what was the key to Josh's game today? What do you think?
He runs really fast.
Well, he got caught for that on that long one.
Yeah, but he had to run so far, he got tired.
Brian, just special teams overall today, coverage, punt, game. How do you assess that?
We thought our punt coverage was really good today. we thought our kickoff coverage, other than we missed a tackle the one time that they ran and bounced it back outside. We were supposed to trim that fat, and we missed the tackle. One of our better tacklers missed a tackle there. I think they bounced it out to about the 32, but their average field position was within our margin. So from a kickoff coverage, we almost hit the first one out of the gates for kickoff return. So I think coverage teams, punt, return, kickoff, return, really good. We missed 2 field goals, but I'm not really concerned. He's hitting the ball really well. It leaked twice on him to the right, and he was trying to make the adjustment. It got away from him and leaked a little bit. Those aren't things that I'm really concerned. We'll have to tighten that up in close games. Obviously, we got to make them, but my hair's not on fire about that stuff. I mean, he's hitting the ball pretty good, as you saw on his kickoffs. He's driving the ball pretty good.
You feel like you have confidence in that phase of the game in a way that you haven't in a while.
Yeah, I'm not. That's not even. Well, as you can tell, it wasn't even on the top 4 or 5 things that I discussed. I mean, he's really hitting the ball well.
And did Durham Smythe take a concussion or a shot?
Yeah, he went through our concussion protocol. He came out pretty good after the game, but you know, we bring him in and he goes through that protocol. But he was correcting me on my talk to the team, so he was pretty good.
Correctly correcting you?
He's always correct.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Coach, red zone 6 for 6, all touchdowns. When you went into the offseason and evaluated the red zone from the previous year, what did you feel you needed to address?
Run the football a lot more. Take a lot of the coverage variations that we get down there out of the quarterback's hands. Effectively get into some more tight end sets that causes you to get out of bracket coverages and into more man coverages and really effectively, you know, create more of a run game opportunity down there.
Right. When you get in the red zone or like inside the 10 or 5, does your conversation increase with Chip Long, or you still want to leave him alone?
My conversation with him is pretty constant during the drive. I'm just trying to keep. I don't want it to be, you know, over chatter. You know, he's got to get in the flow. Right. And he's got to be calling the game. I'm just keeping him on track relative to 4th down calls. Whether we're on this particular area in the field, he's got a 4th down in his pocket, so call accordingly on 2nd and 3rd down. You don't have to worry about it. You got a 4th down to work with. And then when we get into those short fields that, you know, you've got a couple of downs here to run it. So be stubborn.
You got a bunch of good tight ends. We talk to you about them a lot.
Yeah.
We don't talk to you about Nick Wisher very often. What has kept him in the mix?
He's had the best year that anybody can have in terms of his physical commitment to the position itself. In other words, look, he does not have the DNA of Alizé, and he will tell you that he looks like
May I have your attention,
a dad
please? All
compared
fans
to
remaining in the stadium
those
are asked to make
4
their way
stallions.
to the exits at this time because the gates will be closing in 5
He
minutes.
can catch the damn football. It doesn't matter where you throw it. I mean, we had one scrimmage where we had a 4th down scrimmage where we just called 4th down plays, and he made 4 tremendous plays on 4th down. So he created that on his own, and he's just had so much confidence in the way he's been playing, and it's carried over.
In Quentin and Mike, you've got 2 guys who are projected first rounders. What's the difference between a good offensive lineman and an elite offensive lineman like those 2?
I would say, you know, first of all, it starts with, from an offensive line standpoint, the ability to, you know, control your opponent and create a new line of scrimmage. Both of those guys can control their opponent and create a new line of scrimmage. They can dent the defensive line. They can pass block. They can get out, move in space. So I think it starts with winning at the line of scrimmage, and then the versatility that those 2 guys have is pretty unusual.
Speaking of the offensive line, earlier you mentioned running behind the right side with both Kramer, Hainsey. Were you expecting to split that time so much today?
No. Oh, yes, I'm sorry. In terms of, I thought you meant going right and left. No, we
No,
expected to
between-
go left the whole time. And we didn't care if anybody knew about it. Yes, we had it in that it was going to be pretty much, it ended up being, I believe, almost 40 reps apiece. It was darn close. Last time I checked with Harry Heastan, it was like 40-38, 40-39. So we were expecting that to try to be a 50-50 battle. Thank you. Good.